that you can also sustain in this, the future climatic change environment. So this horseshoe crab, also known as king crab, is a common name of the arthropod. Though its name is crab, it's not a crab at all. It belongs to the arachnid group. It's more similar to the spiders and scorpions rather than the crustaceans. And if you see, there are 4 species of this horseshoe crabs that existed throughout the globe. These are Limulus polyphemus, Carcinoscopia rotundicoda, Dactypilus gaius, and Dactypilus tridentus. They are reported to be found only 2 regions of the world, according to this. 3 species of Dactypilus tridentus, T. gaius, and Carcinoscopia rotundicoda occupy coastal waters of Asia from India to Japan, including waters around the Dutch East Indies and Philippine Islands. So entire the Bay of Bengal, that from Southern Sea, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, Philippines, and eastern part of India. So 3 types of horseshoe crabs are existed there in that particular area, but only Limulus polyphemus is confined to the USA coast. So the horseshoe crab Limulus polyphemus is available in eastern coast of USA only. Carcinoscopia rotundicoda and gaius are available in West Bengal and Odisha coast, particularly. Later one is found in and around Chennai, Odisha, according to Chatterjee et al. If you see this global distribution of horseshoe crab, you can see this is Limulus polyphemus is here, Atlantic Ocean, and this particular area. But all 3 are here from this to this and this area. Taiwan, Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, and the eastern, particularly the West Bengal and Odisha coast. And I am concentrating here only. My topic is Indian horseshoe crabs, particularly this area. So this is according to this. And you see, this is geographically 2 distinct locations. One is here in eastern part of the USA and other confined to this area. 4 species, only confined to this, and 3 are confined to this particular area. So, if you see the different types of habitats, how they are sustaining, and what is the significance of this organism, you can see this horseshoe crab has couple-based blue blood or hemolymph. This blood contains hemocyan. In spite of, like ours, it is hemoglobin. So when it is oxidized, it gives red in color. But when it is oxidized hemocyanin, it gives blue color. So that's a blue-blooded color. It is also known as blue-blooded color. So hemolymph horseshoe crab is used for testing the presence of bacterial neurotoxin, living planet knowledge. You see, this is a very, very important test. Whatever the product we are using, medical injections, powders, whatever you are taking, it should be free from bacteria. And how it can be tested? Initially, it was being tested by the pyrogen test, taking the rabbit as a model. But to get the result, we needed about a week to get the answer. But this particular organism has a particular protein from this isolated from the red blood cells, the hemocytes of horseshoe crab, and that is so sensitive in a nano quantity of endotoxin can be detected by this particular test. And USA has manufactured this kit, and this is the LAL, Limulus hemocyte lysate test. And even if we are going to establish the presence of organism in the extraterrestrial life in the space, suppose we are interested to know whether bacterial presence is there or not, then this kit has been developed, and Williams has taken that kit to see whether the organisms are present in the space or not. So that is how this organism is helping. The material extracted from the cellular component, the aminocytes of the horseshoe crabs, ammonia is called Limulus aminocyte, like the LAL test, is very popular and known. And you see, even if that, this Professor Atline, an American who won the Nobel Prize in 1967 for his work on mechanism and vision of horseshoe crab, the principal was licensed to Bale company to develop color television. And NASA needs horseshoe crab blood NASA developed a handheld diagnostic device called lab a chip application level portable system with low-code BTS, a thumb-sized cartridge with press button that has 4 channels. Each channel contains dry lateral phosphograph blood and colorless light and detect bacteria. And similarly, it can be whether it's possible to have this, the blood contains some important proteins like tachyplasmin, tachylectin, that is anti-cancerous, anti-enzyme properties also. It has been established by a few groups from China and US. They have shown that it has some sort of anti-HIV activities or anti-cancerous activity also. So medicinally, biochemically, and evolutionary point of view, in all sort of activities, you can see such an organism. And particularly in India, see, Anandola, 1909, described the habitats, breeding ecology, and Indian king crabs, and for all the first scientific documents on the horseshoe crab in India. But interestingly, if you go through this particular article, he has written the horseshoe crabs named as these Moluccanus, their existence since long time in Indian coast, but there is no scientific documentation on that. Probably some scientific literature which has been there in the western part of the globe, they might have this type of description before, but in scientific literature in India, if you see, this is the first Anandola 1909, that report is taken as the first report of the Indian contest. So Runwal, 1944, report the breeding biology, color, shape, size, weight, and water content of the eggs of Indian horseshoe crab. But if you go through this particular slide also, this particular paper also, it is only confined to few eggs. Only 3 individual female eggs they have taken, they measured the size. So that is very, very limited application. Very small number of samples. But that's the first description regarding the size, color, shape, and weight, and water content of the eggs. Very few eggs has been examined by that particular scientist. And Rao and Ryan, this habitat, and the systematic position of this organism has been described. And but a lot of works started from 80s, 88 onwards. Chatterjee et al. Growth and morphometric aspects. Chatterjee 92, 94, 96, spawning, nesting, seasonal variation, etc. Which is variation of hemolymph content. Chatterjee had a sympathetic distribution of 2 Asian species, not only the one species, Dactylus gygus, as well as your Cassinus rotonicoda. Both are seen in the coast of India. But their geographical location is slightly different. One is preparing the sandy mud, another is the muddy and clay climate. One is mangrove horseshoe crabs, another is the sandy beach horseshoe crabs, Dactylus gygus and Cassinus rotonicoda. But some of the places are there where both the species are existing. But number, sometimes T. gygus is more, Cassinus is less. Or the opposite one, vice versa also. But some of the areas overlapping, some beaches are very peculiar beaches where you can get both species. But some beaches are there which is always exclusively either T. gygus or C. rotonicoda. It's a very peculiar habit. We are getting both types of things. And the regeneration capacity of the gill lamella in vitro culture, statutory in 2004, National Institute of Oceanography, they did some of the works earlier. And it is a very important achievement here with Dhas Key et al. Enhancement of vertebrate karyogenesis by a lactin from perivitellin fluid of horseshoe crab. Actually, what is this perivitellin fluid? If you grow these eggs in vitro, after 35 to 40 days of incubation, then you see there is a little movement of embryo inside this egg, and it's filled with a liquid that is known as perivitellin fluid. And this perivitellin fluid is the first fluid which nourishes the embryo and it gives protection. So this might have a lot of growth promoting proteins, might be. So thinking with that, this Dhas Key et al. Has worked, and they have shown that when they have given a small amount of this perivitellin fluid and tested, they showed that the heart development of heart is quite good, and it shows very good improvement in the treated case comparing to the normal general development process. And Mr. et al. break twin trilobate larvae they have reported. And another thing is that they have first tried to rear the organism in the lab condition. The first rearing experiment they did, they started with few samples only, very limited number of samples, but they have shown that it can be possible to rear them in the laboratory condition. But you see, during 1950 to 2014, a lot of significant works on distribution pattern and taxonomy. Sekiguchi 1976-78, Chatterjee 99, Devnath Chaudhary 89, Vijay Kumar 2000, Tripathi 2030. So a lot of works has been done in this context to understand the biology and habitat of this organism so that they can be conserved and they can be maintained and we can restore the population. The population estimation by capture, recapture method, Devnath Chaudhary 88, diagnostic study of morphology, sexual dimorphism into species, Devnath 1991, and feeding and food selection pattern, fecundity, seasonal variation, volume, body weight, spawning, migration, so many works, breeding and nesting behavior, energy source of the developing eggs, and length, weight relationship, gas, effect of salinity larval growth, in vitro regeneration of amosite horseshoe. So between this 1950 to 14, a lot of work has been done in this context. So this is according to the Rao and Rao. See, the kingdom Animalia, Arthropodas, Incerata, and this genera, two types of genera, Limulus, Tachypilus and Carcinoscopius, but in Indian context, Polyphemus is not available, Tridentus, Gygas, Rotonicoda. This Gygas and Rotonicoda is confined to Indian coast. So, throughout this, whatever the literature is available, if you go through that, you can see two types of horseshoe are present in Indian beaches. The Tachypilus Gygas first reported distribution of Moluccanas and sandy and muddy bottom of Bengal. Sekiguchi Center have reported the distribution of Tigas along the coast of West Bengal and Chandipur, Odisha. Records of Tigas along the northeastern coast of Odisha by Chandipur, Balramgadi, Ekakula, Kanika reported by Runwal, Talwar, Devnath. So if you see, Carcinal Rotonicoda again has been reported from Canning, Digha, Sundarban, Satluj, Irrigation hanging. Mostly it is the Sundarban area of West Bengal. And you see, Odisha, it is Paradip, Dhamra, Udabali, Balisundrapur, Balramgadi, Ekakula, Talsari, Udaipur. But these are very, very limited studies. Only few scientists have gone for a survey for 6 months or just by chance they came across with some organism from this area. So there is no scientific study yet. Although I am mentioning so much of studies are there in Indian context, but very, very limited number of scientific studies are available. Very sporadic studies are available. Very limited number of samples taken. So that's why we have to go for a very extensive study to see the occurrence and breeding are two different things. Sometimes this regarding Paradip, occurrence of horseshoe crab at Paradip. But earlier there was no report on that. Only it is based on a person has gave this information and he said, I have cached this organism at only Paradip site. So that may not be the scientific documentation at all. So that's why. Chilica again, there is a brackish lagoon, largest brachyclaustrum in Indian eastern coast, and only one publication which shows that and which is gave the information that it is available in Chilica, but it is very, very peculiar. And there is no such scientific documentation yet, except that reported by a fisherman. They have cached this sample from the Chilica lagoon. So it is again questionable. So that's why my opinion is that we have to go for scientific study. Only just getting some information, it's not enough to have a scientific evidence on that. So, ZSI, Geological Survey of India, did a lot of work, but whatever the available information, that one case or 5 cases is reported, or somebody has gone somewhere for visit and came across with a horseshoe crab, these are the few reports only. Based on that report only, they have gone for a geospatial investigation information system, and out of that, they have mapped it like this. A total of 69 coastal stretches have been identified as Ashokra habitat along the upper coast of India, in which there are 28 sites West Bengal coast, 39 sites Odisha coast, 2 sites in Andhra Pradesh. But this Andhra Pradesh record is again questionable. Because if you see, Andhra Pradesh is something. It is the beach is half of the beach are rocky and half of the beach is sandy. So there is possibility in the sandy beaches and that some estuaries are there we may get, but again there is no scientific studies. It is only reported by few fishermen or has been catched somewhere. They come across with these organisms and they report it. So that is how this Andhra anyway. But if you see, based on that data also, you see 39 sites in Odisha coast, around 480 kilometer stretch of the part of Odisha coast. And if you see, around 175 kilometer of coast of West Bengal. So 200, 480, 680, and Andhra Pradesh if you take 100. So almost around 500 kilometers stretch beach. So many estuaries are there. So that is more important, you see, based on this 39 in Odisha coast particularly. And in West Bengal, 22 coastal places located inside the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve, 6 sites located between Hooghly River mouth to Subarnarekha River, and of the 28 sites, 3 sites are having occurrence both species. 2 sites are only Carcinus rotundicoda have been reported. 22 sites are habitat of Trichypelus gaigas. So more is sites that are having T gaigas, and rotundicoda is confined to only few sites, and particularly to the mangrove forest areas, coastal belts. Similarly, in Odisha, 39 sites identified for the rice Ashokra habitat, only 2 sites are located inside protected area of Vitarkanika and Gahimata sanctuary. Of the 39 sites, occurrence of both the species were found 17 sites and only tagged 9 sites. But Odisha is very peculiar. We have a Vitarkanika, this estuary, and where this Ramhani and Vaitani river, 2 major rivers, they united and they meet to the sea at that Vitarkanika area. It is full of mangrove forest. And there is possibility of Carcinus rotundicoda. And the Baleshwar, Chandipur, Balramgadi, and all these coasts are for T gaigas. In Andhra Pradesh, only 2 sites were identified, but both they are saying it is only T gaigas. There is no report of Carcinus rotundicoda in Andhra Pradesh yet. So it is based on that mapping. You see abundance of Ashokra both species according to ZSI. This number of organisms they reported, this you see both taken together. So this 1 to 100 individual per year, 100 to 200 per year, 200 to 300 per year, 300 per year. These sites, these are all these areas, are Sundarban area. So it is the river Ganges met with this river, this Bay of Bengal. So that site, which is very muddy and full of mangrove habitation. So Carcinus rotundicoda. And this site, if you see, particularly based on what of the glaciers, you see this is the highest concentration, particularly the Chandipur, Balramgadi estuary. But it is very, very pathetic to see right now. This beach is now degraded, and due to the rapid development of these fishing activities, modern mechanized trawling activities, all these things, and there is a geographical change also. So the whole sand mass has now changed. So that's why we are again going to see what is the real the availability. So coming to the biomedical importance, we have already started with some works with because we are rearing these photographs in our laboratory condition. So we have taken this in perimeter fluid and we have gone for an experiment to see the factor 7 and the fraction of this. It is having this cardiac development, cell development. It promotes the development of the heart cells. So it has a lot of potential to go for this growth factor, and it's very costly to purchase the growth factor. If we can get it by rearing the organism, we can send back to the sea so that we can increase the population of horse crab, and simultaneously, so before hatching we can collect this perpetual fluid, we can go for some type of this type of very important growth factor, so it can be marketable. So this is that report, the enhancement particulate karyogenicity actin from perivitreal fluid of horse crab embryo. You see, it is published in Cell and Molecular Life Science. So you see, you can see this FGF profile of our BVA and SGS space 7th fraction, 47 kilodalton, this one. And they have taken that, and you see, this is the control group and this is the experimental group. You can see there is a development part is very, very good in case of the experimental group compared to the normal one. So that's the potential of the perivitreal fluid. So you can do both the things at a time. You can increase the population of horse crab by maintaining and culturing them in the lab. You can get the perivitreal fluid that can be used for this type of very biomedical importance. And you can see what we have predicted. The Boldam body initially was known to be the best breeding ground of the Indian horse crab. But now you can see with this present data, we have gone to, you can see, this is the Boldam body data, and you see the density, next density per square meter, and you can see India and Kapramohan, Moisery, they're away from around 10, 15 and 21 kilometers away from the Boldam body. This is a very, very small estuaries. And the area is, breeding area is availability 1000 square meter, 100 square meter, and 300 square meter. Comparing to the Boldam body, you can 8000 square meter of natural habitat is degraded by the modern fishing activities and some of the geographical changes. So you can see, so that main aim is now to find out and to map the small estuaries so that we can protect them easily. So that is how we are going and we are mapping the presence of the horse crab in those areas, and so that we can go for conservation. And recently we have just taken few data as how many dead horse crabs are lying in the beach at one point of time. So it may give some indications whether they are coming to that, and if we have not gone for the causes of the death, but we are just finding some of the data, how many dead horse crabs are available for particular area. So based on that, you can see the Boldam body, Moisery, and Tertiary and India. You see the total number of T gigas and Rotonicoda, we are getting. And number of Rotonicoda is less than the T gigas when it is 1506 within 2 months period. And you can see this 48 of Rotonicoda is there, and total is 1554. And male-female ratio is 8:45:10. So that means so much of dead horse crab carapaces we are getting with these 4 sites. And these are the conditions now we see. So present it's a human activities, they are mechanized boat, and the number of increases just within 10 years period. The number has increased from 20 to now it is flying in one particular Boldam body. It is flying around $340 are introduced into that area. And you see the changes. And the whole Olympus beach, they are now having a very kilometer and kilometer, 4 to 5 kilometers long nets have been put into these beaches, so that the fishing community, they are getting and they are earning. But in case of we are going for the livelihood of the human being, but we are killing so much of other organisms also. When they are caught by this net, they are throwing them outside without treating anything. So that might be one of the reasons for this number of dead horse crabs. In small nets also in the estuaries, small nets they are using, and there is a lot of organisms. And you see, population factors, these are the different factors, but interestingly, although government has not taken any initiative yet, But you're surprised to see that government has taken and they have framed a law to protect this particular organism. In 2009, they included this organism in the Wildlife Protection Act. We have an act in India, Wildlife Protection Act, 1972. It was enacted since 1942. But in 2009, they have included this organism in Schedule 4 and they have circulated to all the state governments to take care of this. So there is one initiative definitely from the government side, but it is only in pen and paper. We have not yet taken it really the heart, how to conserve this organism. But recently, we have now developed a incubation chamber. So that you can see there is a lower chamber, and where this motor is there, it pumps water to the upper this container, and we have treated with UV lights here, and that water circulates through this, and the four flags are here, and this it is been provided with this type of water circulating system, so that it continuously circulates. The eggs are circulating here, and it takes about 35 days. Within 35 days, the eggs have been incubated and hatched, and the surviving rate is also very high compared to the normal culture method. What is just put it in the home at this tea mess with the sand and water, sea water. And here also the water you have to change only one culture throughout the culture. We are putting the same water, we are not changing, and it is giving a very good result also. This we are trying, and we are trying to improve this also, so that a large scale culture can be possible in the laboratory condition. Because there is a non-availability of breeding grounds, the breeding grounds has been destroyed, so we are now trying to do it in the laboratory condition. And you see, this is the overhead tank, and the incubation chamber provides an adequate oxygenated, sterilized and uniform water desired temperature. The incubator and fertilizer eggs are continuously rotated with a gentle flow of water, reducing the chance of injuries. Unfertilized and underdeveloped eggs could be identified, removed easily. The embryo development can easily be observed because it is a glass thermoflask, and we can see what is happening inside them. We can change and we can replace that. So that is the advantage of this particular chamber. So Indian horsecraft guidance are distributed in the northeast part. Detailed mapping and conservation of natural breeding and nesting grounds of Indian horsecraft on the West Bengal Odisha coast have to be done. Besides the intervention for states, central government of India, NGO have to play a greater role in their conservation. We have started with our own work with the laboratory condition, and not only confined to the mapping of the horsecraft breeding grounds, but also we are now associating some of the non-government organizations like ABC, and like our Kesudas as an artist is also supporting and spreading the message to the common man, and is taking care of that. And what you have saw in this video earlier to this particular session. So effective method for in vitro fertilization, captive rearing horsecraft has to be developed. Unless you do this, so definitely the day is not so far when this valuable horsecraft will get completely extinct. So there is a need for the protection and conservation of this valuable treasure on path to extinction. This can only be done through proper management public awareness program regarding horsecraft. So I hope acknowledgements. I am getting phone from the Department of Biotechnology. I am also getting permission from the Department of Forest and Environment Climate Change from Government of Odisha. And not only that, Fakinmon University where I am working, they are supporting me. And this DFO Baleswar, who is a very active and very cooperative person, is supporting us and giving permission to carry out such type of work in our laboratory. And finally, I must thank Greenwas ICCA HSC 2017 for giving me this opportunity to present some of our Indian data to you. And thank you all for this present here. Any questions and suggestions, criticism from your side? Most of it. Yes?
Professor Dhas, you mentioned there are two protected areas in fishing.
Yes?
Protected area, Peter Kanika and Ganimata.
Yeah.
Are they protected on paper or are they really protected?
Right. Actually, government declared it as a this protected area, and in the government of Odisha, particularly, they are now trying to make it a UNESCO site for heritage site also. Yes, they have the plan and they are going for that also. So this is a very good because it has been protected not only for the horsegler. Actually, this is protected for the breeding of olive-breeded turtles because they are the best breeding ground for the olive-breeded turtles.
Okay.
Yes, that is why it has been protected.
Proper protection.
Yes.
Oh, no, brilliant.
Yeah. Any other
If there is-
suggestion or criticism?
If there is
Or-
any other questions, you can pose. Not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Prof. It's really valuable.
Okay, we have 10-minute break for refreshment that is served outside. So for current session, from viewers will be everybody have to come back here, and for the ICCA will be at room 405, the next door. 10 minutes.